Good morning. Inshallah, you are doing well. Welcome to another program on ShuraTV on health. And I wanted to welcome everybody. Today is November 30th, 2021, the last day of November. We're heading into the last month of the 21st year of the 21st century. So, inshallah, December will be good for you guys. Today, we wanted to discuss basically what's in the news, and that is that the coronavirus, there is a new variant that they've detected, and the detection has come in the country of South Africa. Why South Africa? Because South Africa is somewhere where they have expertise in infectious disease and identifying genome sequences of viruses. They're experts in virology. So that's why we get notices initially from countries like South Africa, as well as the UK. The UK is also advanced in virology and infectious disease studies. The scientists there are very awake and aware of these things. And they tend to identify and get to the bottom of strains quicker than we do here in the US. They're calling it the Omicron or Omicron, whatever you want to pronounce it, Omicron variant. And the only difference that we know of thus far is that structurally on the spike protein, it has 32 different variations, or what we call mutations. And we'll get into why viruses mutate. But in terms of us and staying safe, it's very important for us to keep in mind that our precautions, and it takes a few 7 to 10 days to incubate and actually show symptoms. But from reports from South Africa thus far have shown that the symptoms have been mild in the people that have caught this new variant. The symptoms have been mild, which is good to hear. And there are young people reporting to the hospital, still a majority of them unvaccinated. So that is still something to consider and something to be aware of, where we have viruses, and the way you get rid of viruses and the way you get ahead of the virus so that the virus doesn't take over into the human genome and replicate and mutate is to get vaccinations. And vaccinations will decrease that viral load, and also it will decrease the tendency for these viruses to keep on mutating. So it's important for us to keep that in mind. If you or a loved one have not gotten your vaccines yet and are still kind of thinking about it, I just met someone this morning. He's like a 63-year-old guy. He's like, I haven't got my vaccine. My immune system is great. I'm eating my chicken soup and my vegetable soup and keeping my immune system up to tip-top shape. And I told him, I said, these mutations occur in these viruses, especially the coronavirus, and it will get you, especially if you're unvaccinated. So I urge everyone that you have access to it. We're fortunate to be here in the US. We have enough vaccines. We have booster shots. If you haven't gotten the vaccines, get the vaccines. If it's been more than 6 months since your second vaccine, go get the booster shot. These things will protect you and will keep you from hospitalization and severe disease. So it's very important to keep that in mind. Don't make it a political issue or a personal issue or an issue with your ego. Go get your vaccine. Billions of people have now gotten the vaccine across the world, and we've seen that the benefits far outweigh the risks. And that's something which is very important to keep in mind. Myself, I've gotten all my kids vaccinated, and today I'm getting my youngest child, who's 7 years old. He's getting his second dose of his vaccine so that he remains safe at school, especially since we have these variants of the virus coming about. This is something to keep in mind. So getting back to the variant, the Omicron variant, it's, South Africa, Europe, Japan, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Austria, these countries have all started locking down or prohibiting travel from certain places, which means that they do have data and they do have people that have come across that are showing symptoms or some type of infection. So when they're locked down, they've seen it, and the U.S. is also mulling restrictions as well. So it's important to keep that in mind. For us, what's going to happen in terms of these variants? If you're vaccinated, if you've gotten your booster, live your life the way you're living, but uh, take precautions. If you're going into a facility or a place where you don't know the people, you don't know their vaccination status, and it's a crowded bunch, wear a mask. Wear a mask. That's very important. Wear your mask and stay safe. You don't want to get this virus if you can help it. There's no need. If you're someone who's elderly age or a senior, definitely get your booster right away and get on track. I think now in the U.S., greater than 80% of the seniors are vaccinated and now are getting their boosters. So that's very important. In terms of the symptoms that were reported with uh, this new variant, they're saying, cough, fever, headache, runny nose, these things mildly. So cough, fever, headache, runny nose, watch out for those things. And then the best thing is, we have Y testing. There's Y testing available. COVID-19 testing, your insurance pays for it, the government pays for it. If you suspect that you have something or you want to keep your family, your friends, your colleagues, your community, your school safe, you need to have a testing regimen. Get tested. And that's the best thing you can do, especially if your kids are going regularly to school, if you're going regularly to crowded areas. The best thing is to get tested. It's the easiest thing, and it keeps you on track. It keeps you aware, and you know what's going on with you and with your loved ones around you. A lot of schools that I've been involved with, they're doing weekly testing of their children, which is very important. It gives you that peace of mind, and it lets them know that, hey, you don't have it, you're good, you're clear, and keep on protecting yourself. Like whatever you've been doing, it's working. And then once in a while, you'll get 2 or 3 or 4 people that show the infection, and then they isolate themselves and they don't spread it further. And this will help our community stay safe and prevent hospitalizations, because this is how things spread. We need to kind of contain it. Tracing, tracking, testing, these are important things, and we need to implement that in our communities. If you go to congregational prayers, if you go to your house of worship, it's very important that you abide by the mask rules. Keep a mask on. It's much better and safer for everybody, for you, for your colleagues, your loved ones, and for the community. So it's something where if we all can take this seriously, then we would prevent this virus from mutating and taking a strong hold into different subsegments of the population. So that's very important. It's very important. It's a little bit of a hassle, of course it is, but if you want to continue to open up society, live in society, and do what you normally would do before COVID, and you want to get to do that faster, then it's important that you keep your eye on vaccinations, you get your boosters, you keep your masks on in crowded places, so that this virus does not take hold and doesn't mutate further. The more it mutates, the more virulent it becomes. With this Omicron variant, they're saying that it's around 300 to 500 times more transmissible. 300 to 500 more times than the Delta variant. The Delta variant, for example, had 9 mutations. This one has 32 in the same area of that spike protein. So it's mutated fairly well, and it's adapted in the host organism, which is the human beings, which are carrying it. So it's important to get ahead of it, to control it, and I encourage you and your loved ones to be aware when you're out and about. When you have gatherings, when you have conferences, you go to school, you go to grocery stores, you go to churches, synagogues, mosques, wherever you go. It's very important for us all. And then if you're someone that has already had COVID, hopefully you don't have the long-term effects of COVID. There's a lot of people that have aches and pains and loss of sense of smell and taste, and there's people that I've met people that have had fever for 21 months straight after COVID. So there's a lot of people in this category, which is about 20 to 30% of the COVID sufferers. They have long-term effects. You don't want that. I don't want that. We don't want that for anybody. And so in order to prevent that, it's very important for us all to, take precautions. Take precautions, use what's available, follow the science, and, don't follow these, what I like to call conspiracy theories and facts that are based on just somebody's paranoid ideas. It's very important. So let's look into that. Let's take care of that. And again, it's nothing to panic about. It's something to plan. There's no um, good use or of getting panicked or nervous or stressed. Just have to plan it out. Currently, what's happening, they're getting the blood of people who are vaccinated. They're testing it with this new virus to see that how well the vaccines work against it, against this new mutation. As soon as they find out in about 6 to 10 days, you'll see news reports of the efficacy of the vaccines that people already have. They'll tell you it's 30% or 50% or 70% effective against the new strain, which is great, which you have some level of protection. And also, if you've had COVID before, you get some level of protection, but to the variants, it's a lesser degree of protection. So that's why that if you're someone who's had COVID before, they recommend that you get at least 90 days post infection, 90 days after your infection, you get that one jab at least from Moderna or Pfizer or whatever you can get. You get that one jab so that your antibodies increase and you're protected. That's very important. It'll protect you from all these variants. We had the Moderna CEO this morning. He said some things which affected the stock markets and all the different money markets across the world. They all dropped because he said that we don't know how effective the vaccines are going to be against the new variant. And when he says that, it causes uncertainty. Uncertainty is what we don't want, right? In terms of, the money markets, there's uncertainty because they fear that business and hospitality industry and hotels and travel, it's all going to get affected again and decrease. President Biden has said that there won't be any lockdowns, but if the situation gets bad or severe, there will be lockdowns. So we have to be prepared for that. It's important to keep that in mind because that's for the safety of our human race. We have to protect ourselves. We don't want another 500,000 Americans to pass away because of COVID, and it's now preventable. Hospitalization is preventable. Severity of disease is preventable. All because it's a virus, and the antidote to a virus is a vaccine. Just like when you have a bacterial infection, a sore throat or lung infection, you go get an antibiotic. The doctor gives it to you, you take it, and the antibiotic helps you with that infection. The same thing with the vaccine. The vaccine helps you with the viral infection and with the virus and protects you. So it's very important, very simple, nothing to overthink, because if we want to preserve our way of life, if we want to have the freedoms and liberties that we currently have, and thank God society has opened up again, things are almost back to normal, and we don't want to regress back into quarantine and into lockdown, then we should use the science to our advantage, get our vaccines, get our boosters, so that we can continue to move forward. There might be other vaccines or other boosters created later for different strains. If that happens, that happens. But we want to wait and see what the scientists discover about these new variants. But the best way to get rid of these variants and the best way to contain them is for us all to be inoculated with vaccines. It's important. It's important. That's the way you minimize the stronghold of a virus. And that's something which we're used to as children growing up here in the West. We've gotten as children. We've gotten vaccines, we've utilized them, and we've trusted our doctors, we've trusted our pediatricians, and the same now. They've developed these things. We have to utilize them, and if we um, utilize them for the function that they're made for, then we'll all be living in a safer society. And I think that's my message for the week. No need to panic. No need to get nervous about it. Just act. See your situation, assess it, and then take actions which will decrease the probability of you getting sick. And wear your mask. Avoid large crowds that aren't masked. And if you haven't gotten your inoculations or your vaccines, please go ahead and get them. And now, from 5-year-olds all the way up to adults, the vaccines are available, the boosters are available. Please discuss it with your physician and go ahead and get them, especially if you're immunocompromised or if you have any type of secondary underlying conditions. That's my message today. Stay safe. Have a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll see you guys next week with another topic. Thank you for listening, and have a great week.